What happens when you stop being nice to the wrong people? Stoic philosophy. Have you ever noticed how being the nice one slowly becomes a job you never signed up for? You start off helping, supporting, staying quiet to keep the peace. But before you know it, people expect it. No questions, no thanks, just silent demands. It's like your kindness becomes their green light to take more and give less. And the more you give, the more they disappear into comfort. Yours, not theirs. But here's where it gets real. The day you stop bending, the masks around you start falling. You say no once, and suddenly you're the villain. You take a step back, and now you've changed. No one asks why you're quiet. They just get mad that you stopped being their emotional doormat. That's when you realize it wasn't love. It wasn't loyalty. It was access. And now that access is gone, it's like this. Ever fed someone who always showed up hungry, always sweet, always friendly? But the one day you don't feed them, they vanish. No knock, no goodbye. That's not loyalty, that's survival. That's what happens when you're useful, not valued. So here's your wake-up call. Some people don't love you. They love the version of you that serves them. They love your silence, not your truth. And when you stop being nice to the wrong ones, you're not losing people. You're just watching illusions dissolve. Now the choice is yours. Shrink to keep others comfortable, or rise and protect your peace. Stay till the end, because what you're about to hear, it's not just advice, it's a turning point, and it might just save your soul. If this message woke something up in you, if it made you rethink how you've been treated just for being kind, then don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. We're creating content that isn't just talk, it's truth. Because what happens when you stop being nice to the wrong people isn't just a lesson, it's a life changer. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be the strength someone else needs today. Number 1. Stop ignoring the red flags. When you set boundaries, people reveal their true intentions. What if their kindness disappears the moment you draw a line? That's not love. That's exposure. It's easy to believe people care about you when you're always saying yes, when you're giving your time, your energy, your silence. But the real test isn't how they treat you when you're easy to access. It's how they act when you finally say no. The moment you stop stretching yourself thin to keep others comfortable, the performance ends. That's when you stop seeing the version of them they wanted you to see and start seeing the one they were hiding all along. It's like wiping steam off a mirror. Clarity doesn't come gently. It comes in a sudden shift. That friend who praised your selflessness now says you've changed. That family member who called you a blessing now calls you distant. But what really changed? Them, or your ability to finally see through the act? Epictetus once said, "If telling the truth makes them angry, they were never on your side to begin with. If someone only respected the version of you that made them comfortable, they never truly respected you. They respected what you gave." Let me tell you about someone I know. We'll call her Rachel. She was the go-to girl, always giving, always sacrificing. Until one day, she hit a wall. She stopped over-explaining. She started saying no without guilt. And like clockwork, the silence came. One friend ghosted her entirely. Another said, "You're not the same anymore." But Rachel realized something. Their love was never unconditional. It was transactional. And now that the transaction stopped, so did the connection. So here's the lesson. Don't fear the shift. Watch it closely. When people react to your boundaries with guilt trips, coldness, or distance, that's not rejection, that's revelation. You didn't lose them. You found yourself. And that kind of truth, it's the beginning of real peace. Number 2, take back your power. Stop letting people control you through your kindness. The day you stop pleasing everyone is the day they lose control over you. Here's what most people don't realize. Being too nice isn't just about being kind. Sometimes it's about survival. You become agreeable to avoid conflict. You bend your schedule, your voice, your values, just to keep the peace. But slowly, without even knowing it, you give away something much bigger: control. And the people who benefit from your people-pleasing, they take that control and use it like a remote, pressing buttons to shape your choices, your moods, your worth. But the moment you stop trying to keep everyone happy, the moment you stop apologizing for having limits, that's when everything shifts. The power they once had? Gone. Because they can't guilt you anymore. They can't pressure you with silence or shape your decisions with disapproval. And for people who've built their comfort around your compliance, that's terrifying. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You become powerful the moment you stop seeking approval." That's the secret. When your actions are guided by your own values, not their reactions, you take your freedom back. You're no longer available for manipulation, guilt trips, or emotional blackmail. Let me tell you about Jason. He was the guy who never said no, always available, always doing more than he could handle. People praised him until he stopped sacrificing himself to meet their needs. One co-worker told him, "You've changed." A family member said, "You're not as generous anymore." But Jason didn't back down. And for the first time in years, he felt free. He wasn't drained. He wasn't stretched. He was just himself. So what do you do when they start losing their grip on you? You stay grounded. Don't explain your strength. Don't soften your truth. Let them feel what they never expected, your power. Because when you stop being nice to the wrong people, you stop handing out pieces of yourself and finally start living whole. Number 3, clear the mental clutter. Step away from draining people to hear your own voice again. The noise isn't in your head. It's in the people you keep pleasing. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from work or lack of sleep. It comes from constantly managing the emotions of people who never do the same for you. It's waking up tired, going to bed, overthinking, and living in a fog of, "Did I say too much?" or "Should I have done more?" And the scariest part, you don't even notice how loud it's gotten until you finally step away and feel the silence for the first time. That silence, that's not emptiness. That's clarity returning. See, when you're always trying to keep the peace, make people happy, avoid upsetting anyone, you start to disappear. Your thoughts aren't your own. You stop listening to your gut and your inner voice. It gets quieter every time you ignore it to keep someone else satisfied. Over time, you don't know what you want because you've been too busy playing a version of yourself that everyone else prefers. Seneca said it best: "Remove unnecessary things from your mind, and peace will return." Sometimes the unnecessary isn't just tasks or to-do lists. It's people who treat your kindness like a subscription. Let me tell you about Emily. She was always there. The 2 a.m. call, the last-minute help, the emotional support team in one person. But behind that smile was a mind that never rested. One day, she did something radical. She stopped. No anger, no drama, just silence. She answered less, explained less. And slowly, her thoughts came back to her. For the first time in years, she could breathe. The truth is, peace isn't found in being available to everyone. It's found in being honest with yourself. So ask yourself, What do I need right now? And give yourself permission to protect it. Because when you stop being nice to the wrong people, you don't become cold, you become clear. Number 4, respect yourself first. Saying no is how you stop losing yourself. What if being too nice is costing you your self-respect? It's time to choose you. There comes a moment when you realize that being too nice isn't just exhausting, it's expensive. Not in money, but in dignity. Because when you're always putting others first, saying yes when you mean no, or staying quiet just to keep the peace, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're abandoning yourself. Think about it. How often have you stayed silent so someone else could speak louder? How many times have you shrunk your needs so theirs could take center stage? That's not kindness, that's self-erasure. And every time you do it, your self-worth quietly takes a hit. You become a background character in your own life. But the day you stop doing that, something powerful happens. You start seeing yourself differently. Real peace doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from finally protecting your inner space. You stop questioning your worth and start honoring your limits. You stop explaining why your needs matter and simply start meeting them. You act like someone who deserves to be here because you do. The philosopher Epictetus said, "Respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you." That includes people who only take, conversations that leave you feeling drained, and situations that make you small. Let me tell you about Ethan. For years, he was the fixer, always available, always giving, even when it cost him everything. People praised him, but when he needed help, silence. One day, he stepped back. He started saying no, calmly and clearly. Some people didn't like it. They called him selfish. But Ethan, he started sleeping better, standing taller, feeling stronger, because for the first time, he wasn't betraying himself to please others. So here's your reminder. Self-respect isn't arrogance, it's alignment. And the more you respect yourself, the less you'll tolerate anything or anyone that doesn't. When you stop being nice to the wrong people, you don't just create peace. You create a version of you that's solid, grounded, and finally whole. Number 5, don't fall for the trap. Manipulators will pretend to change just to pull you back. If they fight your boundaries, it was never about love. It was about control. Not everyone claps when you start to heal. When you stop bending over backwards for people who were quietly benefiting from your kindness, something strange happens. They don't just walk away. They push back. They panic. They try to pull you back in. Not because they miss you, but because they miss the control. This is what manipulators do. They twist your strength into selfishness. The moment you set a boundary, they act like you've attacked them. They say things like, "You've changed," or "I guess you don't care about me anymore." Suddenly, you become the villain for choosing peace. They'll act hurt, act confused, act like the victim. But pay attention, it's not sincerity, it's strategy. Marcus Aurelius said, "The closer one is to the truth, the more falsehood resists." Translation: when you start living honestly, the people who live through manipulation will fight you the hardest. Not because you're wrong, but because your clarity ruins their game. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman, we'll call her Rachel. She had a friend who always leaned on her, always needed something. But the moment Rachel needed support, silence. Still, she never spoke up, until one day she did. She gently pulled back, and just like that, the guilt trip started. "I guess our friendship didn't matter." Then came the charm. "I miss us. Let's go back to how things used to be." But Rachel saw through it. She realized they didn't want the friendship back. They wanted the version of her who never said no. So she stayed firm. And that changed everything. Here's your lesson. When someone resists your boundary, it's not a sign to give in. It's proof that it's working. Don't over-explain. Don't soften the truth to make others feel safe. Let them panic. You're not cruel. You're just done playing the part they assigned you. And finally, you're playing yourself. Number 6. Make space for real ones. Cut off the fake to attract the genuine. Want real people in your life? Then stop entertaining the fake ones. One of the biggest surprises and blessings of walking away from the wrong people is this. You finally make room for the right ones. But here's the part most don't talk about. At first, it feels lonely. It's quiet. You start wondering, did I push too hard? What if I end up with no one? But what you're really feeling is the detox. You're not alone. You're just unlearning what it means to settle. The truth is, toxic connections are loud. They come with pressure, guilt, and endless emotional noise. But real ones, real people are quiet, calm, and consistent. They show up without expecting anything in return. They listen without waiting to speak. And they love you without needing a benefit. Seneca said, "Associate with people who make you better." Simple advice, but when you're used to overextending for those who only call when they need something, that kind of stillness can feel unfamiliar, even scary. But don't mistake silence for emptiness. It's actually space. Space for something real to grow. Let me tell you about someone, we'll call him Brandon. He used to give everything, time, money, favors, to people who vanished the second he needed support. It hit him hard when his toughest days were met with crickets. So he did something different. He didn't cut anyone off with drama. He just stepped back, quietly, slowly. And that's when things shifted. New faces, real connections. People who asked how he was doing, not what he could do. Brandon's circle got smaller, but stronger. So here's your reminder. You don't owe lifetime access to people who exhaust you. Get clear on your values, protect your peace, and trust the process. Real people don't rush in, but when they do, they stay. And they don't just feel better, they make you better. That's what happens when you stop being nice to the wrong people. You stop drowning in noise and start living in truth. Number 7. Protect your energy. Like it's gold, stop pouring into people who only drain you. If you're always tired, it might not be burnout. It might be who you're giving your energy to. There's a kind of exhaustion that sleep can't fix. The kind that comes from giving your energy to the wrong people for too long. And you might not see it at first, but you feel it. You start waking up tired, even after a full night's rest. The things that used to make you feel alive don't excite you anymore. You're running on empty, and you don't even know when you started running. That's the quiet cost of constantly putting others first, especially those who only take, never give. People who cross your boundaries, guilt-trip your kindness, and vanish when you need them most. You lose yourself in the noise of their needs, and before you know it, your life isn't yours anymore. It's a reaction to everyone else. But the moment you stop, everything shifts. Your time becomes your own again. Your mind starts to clear. You begin focusing on what you want instead of what everyone expects. It's not selfish, it's survival, it's freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "He who is not a slave to the expectations of others is truly free." And that's exactly what this transformation is. The freedom to say no without guilt, to live without performing, to choose your own peace without asking permission. Let me tell you about Jenna. She used to be the one who said yes to everything: work, friends, family, even when she was breaking inside. She looked like she had it all together, but behind the scenes, she was exhausted. Until one day she stopped, not out of anger, out of clarity. She said no calmly. She made space for herself. And little by little, her energy came back. She wasn't drained from just existing anymore. So, if you're tired all the time, ask yourself, who or what am I constantly giving to? Because when you stop being nice to the wrong people, you stop pouring into empty cups, and finally, you have enough left to pour into yourself. Number 8. Choose truth over comfort. Let go of roles that keep you small and reclaim who you are. There comes a moment when pretending just exhausts you. When being the one who's always nice, always agreeable, always fine, starts to feel like wearing clothes that don't fit anymore. And deep down, you know, you didn't come this far just to keep playing a role that was never meant for you. Sometimes the you they love isn't the real you. It's the version that doesn't make waves. The one that stays silent so they stay comfortable. The one that bends, shrinks, smiles, even when it hurts. But here's the truth. Comfort can become a trap. And if you're not careful, you'll start mistaking being liked for being respected. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The closer you are to truth, the more resistance you'll face." That resistance, it's not proof you're wrong, it's proof you're waking up. When you stop playing along, when you start saying what you really think, when you finally act like your peace matters, some people won't like it. They'll say you're too cold, too distant, too different. But maybe different is exactly what you needed to become. Let me tell you about a man named Devin. For years, he was the reliable one, the helper, the peacekeeper. He never challenged anyone, never said what he really felt. Then one day, he stopped playing the role. He stopped answering every call, stopped agreeing just to avoid conflict. And people noticed, not because he was rude, but because he was real. Some walked away, but the ones who stayed, they met the version of him that was finally honest. So here's your reminder. You don't owe anyone the watered-down version of yourself. You don't have to keep acting just to be accepted. Let go of the roles that keep you small. Tell the truth, even if your voice shakes, because that's how you reclaim your power, not by being who they want, but by finally becoming who you are. And here's the truth that ties it all together. When you stop being nice to the wrong people, you don't become cruel, you become clear. You stop handing out pieces of yourself to those who never planned to give anything back. And in that clarity, you find peace, power, and a version of you that's finally free. If this message hit home, give it a like, subscribe for more content that helps you grow stronger, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might just be someone else's breakthrough.